So it has been a while since you and I have done two movies on the same episode. I actually can't remember the last time we did two movies. You and I weren't.
I don't think we've ever done two movies.
I don't think so either. I don't think we were podcasting acquaintances like early on, like I did that, but like podcast acquaintances. I guess we would have like barely known each other right at the tail end when I stopped doing like two movies an episode. But that was something that was like, long gone for a long time because it's a lot.
It's it's a lot of preparation.
Yeah, it's a lot of preparation. I mean, I think this makes sense for a number of reasons. Obviously, I almost think that these movies are linked at the face. Maybe not the face, linked at like the shoulder. I don't think that these movies are like mirror images of one another, but it's not just the main character casting that is the mirroring of these movies. There's a lot of themes that mirror one another's in both.
These are deeply Irish movies. They're linked at the heart.
Wow. That was a good one. That was good. Yeah, it's on this episode of the Kulturecast, two deeply Irish films. Yeah, there's probably no better way to put it, as Father Malone just aptly put it. And I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, and we are joined by Father Malone all the way from various podcasts over at weirdingwaymedia.com, including but not limited to Noise Junkies, Night Mr. Walters, Dark Destinations, Midnight Viewing, Chronicles from the Crypt, and Dreams for Sale. That's a lot of things, Father Malone. What the fuck?
It's a lot, but listen, I didn't come here for licks. I came for the opposite of licks.
So on this episode of the Kulturecast, we are talking about Martin McDonagh's two films that are worth talking about at the same time or together. A little film from 2008 called In Bruges, and a little film from 2022 called The Banshees of Inisherin. So, I don't know if we need to talk about them in order, but I think chronologically, let's talk about In Bruges first. So, film came out in 2008, written and directed by Martin McDonagh, which is going to be a carryover to both, including our leads, Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Colin Farrell plays he plays Colin Farrell in a lot of ways, the human being in a lot of ways that I think Colin Farrell probably identifies with the most in terms of characters he's played. And he is a hitman who fucked up, and Brendan Gleeson is the other hitman who is having to deal with the fact that his hitman partner fucked up. And how does he deal with it? Well, he's probably going to have to kill his partner. And those orders are coming from the one and only Ralph Fiennes, who makes an impact in this movie, even though he's not in it throughout. A couple other people show up, Clemence Posey, Jeremy Renier, but primarily it's a Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson joint, and little did we know we'd get another one 14 years later. But Father Malone, I'll kick it to you first. First time you saw this movie, what you thought then, what you think now? Why did you say yes to this episode?
Saw it in the theaters originally in Bruges. Saw it then because I fucking adore the two leads. My penchant for Irish actors, actresses, acting, and I've loved Colin Farrell from the fucking moment I saw him, which I think was Tigerland was the first thing I saw him in, and then immediately sought out everything, which was very easy because he became very, very hot very, very quickly.
Because he is very, very hot.
Oh, certainly.
That's one of the reasons is the late 90s was looking for a hot UK star to jump on, and boy, Colin Farrell was right there.
Yeah, well, he's got those giant bushy eyebrows, doesn't he? He not only is he like sort of vastly attractive, but he is a fucking really good actor. Like he versatile, always believable, always delivers, and the two choices we have here, like no better examples of that. And Brendan Gleeson, my God, man, like just what a force of nature. The first thing I saw him in, I think, was there was a movie called The General, where he played like an Irish like mobster. He was massive in that, and then and I saw him in Braveheart, of course, which that's a big, silly, dumb movie, but part of me loves that movie. And
I've never seen it.
Wow, really?
Wow, really? I mean, I'm not a Mel Gibson guy.
Yeah, and it's easy to understand why. But
yeah, it is.
But imagine, like, sort of, lovable Brendan Gleeson amidst all these insane Celts, running through fields and hacking the English apart. And, part of that movie is real, real good. He's always wonderful, Brendan Gleeson, and found out today that up until the age of 37, he was like a teacher, and then but was doing a little bit of acting. But up until then, was basically that was his family knew him as a teacher, and then suddenly he's acting in like major motion pictures. I listened to an interview with Donald Gleeson, his son, today, who said like, if that taught him anything, it was like becoming an actor or becoming a filmmaker was entirely possible, which is funny to me because you always hear people when they say like, growing up where I was, making a movie seemed like going to Mars or something. And here's the opposite, like somebody who saw a regular person make it and go, hey, I could do that. Anyway, love those two guys.
Not just make it, but make it in like, he's in Harry Potter.
Yeah. He's in huge movies.
Yeah. Like the biggest franchise things, like,
and great in all of them.
Yeah, he elevates things that he's in. That's for sure.
Oh, and good God, like Gangs of New York is a mess, but he's great in that. So my first impression of this movie was I adored it. This was Pulp Fiction for me. I didn't need all the flash of the pop culture and the wormy kind of turning in on itself to tell me the tale of two hitmen. This is kind of more one that resonates with me. I did say this is a deeply Irish film, didn't I? The deep strain of melancholy that ran through it, that I just felt like, that's another delightful layer here. And what wonderful characters. Obviously, McDonagh is just a powerhouse of a writer. Like, it's not fair that he's as good a filmmaker as he is too, because this fucking playwright can just nail every bit of emotion. That even the stuff that's not coming out of the mouths of the characters is on the page with this guy. Yeah. And I think it's an unsettling movie. And an incredibly funny movie. I don't think I expected it to be half as funny as it was when I first saw it. Like without ever teetering into sort of slapstickery, And I don't know. Good God, I dug the hell out of it when I saw it. I was glad to rewatch it.
So I saw this movie when I was 18, which at this point is quite some time ago. I used to get out of high school early in the day. And so I went and skipped the last period and just went and saw this movie in the Angelica Theater, which was the, hoity-toity theater of the time, because it was showing art house, which is...
It was an art house theater. What is all this air quotes and fucking hoity-toity shit, man? You just went to an art house.
Because it wasn't an art house theater, is my point. Like, it was art house in that it showed those kinds of movies, but it felt very corporate-y. Like, even... you know what I mean? Like, that's more what I'm getting at. Like, it wasn't like the kinds of places I imagine you talking and the kinds of places that you have talked about showing movies. It was very like, this just wouldn't play at the major motion picture theater that we have in town. Like, which I think is weird to me now, because to your point, like, everything about this movie really works. It is a deeply nihilistic movie in a lot of ways, but I think that's Martin McDonagh is clearly understands that, if not embraces it, at least in his creative endeavors, maybe not personally, but this and Banshees of Inisherin even more so kind of verge on that, like almost being too nihilistic for people. And I can understand that. I mean, again, I think that some of it is the Irishness of it. I think that plays into it. Because again, I mean, Irish are a fucking tough people. You have to be if you live on a fucking island, for fuck's sake. Like, and just all the other things, including being oppressed by the British for hundreds of years and all those other fun things that everybody in this country wasn't necessarily taught. So it makes people that are very strong and very no nonsense, which I think is, again, the honesty with which so much of this movie is portrayed is probably, for me, the thing that still stands out. Is just like, movies like this in 2008 didn't feel this honest, that were like with these big a level of actors coming out in, again, like ostensibly big enough that it's being picked up in most movie theaters, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm assuming you saw this somewhere that was like a movie theater.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just, this movie is pretty dark, but at the same time, like, there's a level of, I don't know, there's a level of fun to this movie that's kind of hard to ignore, because the movie is a lot more fun than, like you said, like it would seem to be. But I like the Pulp Fiction comparison. That's an apt one. It speaks to similar themes. I think this just, again, Martin McDonagh's a better writer than Quentin Tarantino. All you got to do is watch this movie to figure that out.
He doesn't need a glowing suitcase or a miracle of not being struck by bullets. And yet this one is much more deeply spiritual than that sort of surface gloss of like the magic moment that changes one person's mind. The guilt that sort of also runs through the movie. That's a Catholic thing if ever there was one.
Yeah.
And all these characters are drenched in guilt and bound to codes that predate them, and yet they have to adhere. Particularly Ralph Fiennes' character, perhaps the most moral character in the film, is the one who's the greatest threat to everyone.
Well, and that's the thing about the movie that is the one of, I mean, again, it's because it's written by Martin McDonagh that the Ralph Fiennes character in any other movie could theoretically be the film's hero. Because again, like, yeah, the decision that he's making might not be the easy one to make, but it is the right one. Because Colin Farrell is a liability in the line of work that they work in, which is some people cook, some people clean, some people make widgets. These guys kill people for a living. That just happens to be their profession. And here are the intricacies and the problems that come with that, including but not limited to killing someone who wasn't meant to die by accident. And oh, by the way, whoops, it's a kid, which makes it essentially the moralistic worst possible thing that you can do, moralistic -11 in this movie's moral compass, at least bearing, because what Ralph Fiennes does at the end of the movie would inform me that that's how at least his character feels.
Like I said, he's I don't know if moral is the right word, but he certainly follows a code, and at least there's that, right? In a deeply amoral profession, at least to know that there's someone out there who has a compass of some kind, because the rest of the movie's compass is as slippery as hell. Brendan Gleeson, the scene that stays with me, that I loved when I saw it and resonated again when I rewatched it. There's a scene where Colin Farrell is about to kill himself, and Brendan Gleeson stops him, while at the same moment he's there to kill Colin Farrell. And
it's the greatest scene in the movie.
It's dizzying. It's so fraught with so much. Like it's the kind of scene that makes me like, or reinvigorates one's hope in cinema. You know, like people say they're like nothing good and whatever. I'm like, you're just not looking, because that scene I'd put up against anything, and it's one of many in that film, one of many complex and challenging scenes. Each of our characters are at turns lovable and despicable. What other movie is doing that? What other actors are saying, yeah, I want to show that I'm also a fucking horrible piece of shit at some point in this movie?
Right. Oh, and that is the thing that I do appreciate about this movie, is that there is like the black and whiteness is really reinforced by one character, but everything else is just morally beyond gray, like living in the land of gray. And in this and in Banshees, like that is the area with which so much of the interesting conflict comes out of, is just humans acting seemingly the way humans would act. Like, again, like I think Martin McDonagh writes realistic human characters and that are fully realized and characterized in a way that, again, it doesn't feel like, oh, these are two guys putting on a show. Like, this is theoretically, if there were two hitmen, this may be the way that they feel about one another if one of them fucked up. Because yeah, I would be conflicted, but ultimately, as we see in the movie, Brendan Gleeson is going to do the job. He's going to do it. He even says, I'm sorry, but he was going to do it. And
until he wasn't.
Well, right. Until he wasn't. Does that make him
Chris, earlier you said that this is like a deeply nihilistic movie. I disagree with that. I think this is actually wildly hopeful. I know it's one of these slaughter fests at the end where everyone you care about is going to not make it to the credits, but something about everyone's actions there I felt to be uplifting. Brendan Gleeson trying like with his last breath, his last moment. Oh, it's such a splattery, beautiful thing. And then, and Colin Farrell, like he's trying to do the right thing, and Ralph Fiennes is doing the right thing by his thing, and then really punches it home at the end. Like he really does the right thing, even if it's a mistake. And what's amazing about the movie to me is it seems so Shaggy Dog, where it's just like a couple of characters wandering around and like, exploring, and, we're waiting for this payoff. But it's also so densely plotted, but the plot is ridiculous, involving this dwarf and like that all plays into the moral code ending. And like, in a way, you could dismiss this movie plot wise as just like a Seinfeld episode. This mistaken identity thing, and
kind of like foul play.
Yeah, something. It could be.
Maybe that's just the dwarf. I don't know. You say the dwarf.
The dwarf, but that was the Billy Barty. But that was an assassin as well. Oh, they thought he was an assassin.
Yeah, but there was an assassin named the dwarf in that movie.
The dwarf, that's right. No, I just mean the plotting just seems like so. It could be kind of tropey, but everything else is so fucking good that it feels not only authentic to the piece, it feels like fresh.
Right.
That's a pretty great feat to pull off.
I think most of that comes from Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell having the most realistic friendship possible on screen. Like, it's clear that, they're real life friends, like deeply close human beings in a way that like few people probably have with people in their lives. And again, you get that from working with people, being close proximity to them for days on end. And then, you can tell how real their real life friendship is and how well they work together, because they I don't know, they balance each other out really well in this movie. In both movies. And the other movie, they're kind of playing the other version of themselves. They're playing the versions of themselves that they're not in this movie. In Banshees of Inisherin, it's like just the opposite from this movie in a lot of ways. But Brendan Gleeson,
it's these two characters had they continued to live and moved to an island off the coast of Ireland.
Oh, that's fair.
Obviously it's not a sequel and it's not blah, 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 but like
Brendan Gleeson's character in Banshees of Inisherin takes less of shit from Colin Farrell than he does in this. Puts up with a lot of Colin Farrell's shit in this.
Right, because he has to save this kid. And so... Right.
He feels obligated.
Yeah. Whereas had he saved the kid and now they had been living for 20 or 30 years and seeing each other every day, perhaps...
He's like, I'm sick of this fucking guy.
Yeah, you know what? I did the right thing by you. Now you have to leave me alone.
Interesting. It would, again, in a lot of ways, again, they're not sequels, like you said, but they are narratively linked because you have these two actors portraying
friends.
Yeah, friends. And
friends in horrifying circumstances.
Right. And I think for me, in Bruges, their friendship obviously really is the core of the movie, and same in Banshees of Inisherin, but I like the trappings of this movie a lot. Them being assassins, it being in Bruges. Clemence Posey, she's actually pretty good. I like her a lot. Look, we mentioned Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes almost steals this goddamn movie out from underneath Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, because his character, when I think of Ralph Fiennes, this is the Ralph Fiennes performance I think of, is this character in this movie, and him saying, "You're an inanimate fucking object," which is one of the great insults of all movie history. But he just plays the character in this movie so perfectly, and I love angry, pissed off Ralph Fiennes. He plays it better than anybody.
Yeah, it's a remarkable... Here's the thing. He does almost steal the movie.
Right.
Which is a Herculean effort given who he has to steal it from and given the amount of time he has to do it, which is very limited.
Right.
So, look, he's a presence throughout the entire movie. We hear his voice throughout the entire movie. And it is at turns... I keep saying at turns. It is at turns... Like, he's very funny and also very terrifying over that phone.
Fucking this and fucking that and fucking this and fucking that.
Boy, don't he deliver when he shows up too? Like, if you hadn't recognized the voice and then he steps on screen, I'm sure it was like a wonderful surprise, and that he's I guess we've seen him be pretty villainous before. There's an entire generation who probably thinks of Ralph Fiennes as a villain with no nose. But
I thought you were talking about Ralph Fiennes as a Nazi.
Oh, well,
so applicable.
Yeah, man. But then, he's also John Steed, so
that's fair. Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, the funniest thing, one of the funniest scenes in this movie is the inanimate fucking object scene. Because again, the juxtaposition of he's doing this in his office, in his house, and you don't see it until they cut to what he's looking at. And it's just his family in the other room as he pummels this phone into his desk and screams and yells and is screaming profanity. And then his family's just in the other room. It's actually fucking insane. Just to show how beyond reproach this guy is and how little he gives a shit about the social mores that so many of us would assume are a thing, given he's just screaming in front of his kids about murdering someone.
Well, to be fair, Brendan Gleeson has pushed him to this point.
It's true. I mean, that's 100% accurate.
I mean, we see he is a man of his word, and the fact that Brendan Gleeson is not yet killed or at least lied and said, yeah, it's done, and then had to plan for him to get away. Like, his indecision is his ultimate downfall here, Brendan Gleeson,
Yeah. Now, and you're right, the third act of the movie, it really does pick up when Ralph Fiennes shows up, only because, again, like his presence and his energy is such a weird injection into, again, the movie's not low energy, but it kind of is. That's kind of the point, and it's kind of the benefit. It is kind of, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a hangout movie for the first half. It's just these dudes wandering around Belgium. Like, who better to wander around Belgium with than Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell?
As much as Colin Farrell hates every fucking second of it.
Which I don't know if that's his real feelings. Probably not. But he looks perfectly disgusted constantly.
Miserable.
Yeah, just. And even when he's sitting on the boat and Brendan Gleeson is enjoying himself as they're going through the canals, he's just so fucking miserable.
It's pretty great considering how gorgeous that city is,
Right. And we haven't mentioned it, but there's a scene in a restaurant where Colin Farrell just starts beating the shit out of what is that actor's name? Zelko Ivanek. When he's the cigarettes. Oh my God. It's like, but you get to see in that scene, that version of Colin Farrell that we've heard about, this kind of like, no nonsense motherfucker who again, like he is still a hitman, even if he's not the best hitman. He does still know his shit. Like he can still handle himself.
Absolutely. Like he got the gig for a reason. Like he just fucked it up now.
Right. But I like that, again, like they give him that moment, these moments in the movie to show that. And it's not just hearing about it and, let's just believe that Colin Farrell is a hitman. Like, no, we get to the Clemence Posey character, like her kind of side plot injects that into the movie. And I think as a love interest, she's fine. I don't know if it's completely needed. I think, again, like Banshees of Inisherin doesn't have it. And I think it's just as good of a movie with or without it. So,
well, she's there to sort of represent the possibility of a new life,
Right.
And we're seeing that beating through her eyes, which is she's absolutely horrified by,
Right.
That's all I got to say about her.
Yeah, I mean, she's not.
It's not really that great a character. No, you know what? It is a pretty good character. I just don't think about her when I think about this movie for some reason.
Well, that's my point. It's like it's not that it's not good. It's just that it's not really needed because the romance at the heart of the movie is between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Like that's what it is. It's the love of two friends, not the love of a man and his girlfriend or the woman he meets in Bruges. It's these two guys and the love that they have for each other. Because like you mentioned, Brendan Gleeson's character has to make a decision based on his feelings towards Colin Farrell to not kill him because he feels so strongly for him. And that's the thing.
Meanwhile, Colin Farrell wants to kill himself.
Right.
So he has to protect Colin Farrell not only from Ralph Fiennes, but he has to protect him from himself. What a dilemma.
Yeah. It's I really love this movie. I think it does so many things right. And so, it does so few things not wrong, but I don't think it really spins its wheels. It's not a bloated movie. I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, could take 10 minutes out. It's 107 minutes, not even 2 hours. It's a fun little movie. And by the end of it, I feel like the ending, I think the movie deserves the ending that it gives itself. I think it makes sense in terms of like the direction that the story goes.
It's an inevitable ending, and that's the best kind.
Agreed.
More often than not, movies just fall apart in that third act, right? There's so much potential, and they can figure out a way to ramp it up in the second act and then let it all dissolve and fall to fucking crumbling pieces in the third. And here we get, what is a pretty gentle movie for 2/3 of it, and then could have continued to be gentle, and we would have adored it pretty much the same. But then it goes for what it was originally intending, which is this bloodbath.
Yeah, and I like that third act kind of set piece, I guess, as it were, outside of that church where, Brendan Gleeson falls and then Colin Farrell's being chased after and they go back into the hotel. And I think it all works rather well. I don't think it's unwelcome, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't make sense. I feel like this movie, again, inevitably is building to the moment where there's Ralph Fiennes, there's Colin Farrell. Oh shit. Like, what will happen now? And I think the movie's twist at the end with what happens to Ralph Fiennes also makes perfect sense. They've been essentially alluding to it the entire movie. And it's a nice little...
Everyone says something like that and no one does it. And to see a character do it was a beautiful thing.
Right. Like, it's that moment of like, okay, you have been saying this is what would happen. This is how you feel. Well...
Bang.
Yeah. And I love that he doesn't even wait for Colin Farrell to tell him.
No, he sees it and knows what he has to do.
Even though it's not actually what he... Yeah.
Oops. That's the other brutal, bitter Irish ending.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, and that's where I said it's deeply nihilistic, because it's like you didn't have to, and you did if you had waited 2 seconds longer.
Yeah.
No, fuck it. Like, fuck it. Like, it's like, you know what it reminds me of? It's like the ending of The Mist, but it's to the character that it needs to happen to. So it's not that big of a deal.
Irony is good for the blood, baby. It's the same ending as the Mist, I guess, except that this is the happy version,
Right, yeah. Don't wait.
This is the delightful version.
Yeah.
The thing about Martin McDonagh is, like, you could easily see him, if he wanted to, just write light comedies with, characters going about their lives, and those would be fucking great too. But God bless him, he's decided to go a different route, and there will be blood.
And that's the thing about Martin McDonagh. I mean, in between In Bruges and The Banshees of Inisherin are 2 movies that, one of which I have heard nothing but good things about, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And then another movie that I've pretty much heard nothing but good things when I have heard about it, but I haven't heard about it from as many people, which is Seven Psychopaths.
Not as well thought out as In Bruges or Banshees, Seven Psychopaths, but fun, very meta, about a writer named Mark who's writing a script called Seven Psychopaths.
Oh boy. I would be interested only because it's Martin McDonagh doing them.
You should definitely see it. No question about that. Martin McDonagh is a hope for the future.
And then I haven't seen 3 Billboards either. Not for any specific reason.
That's good. I think that was overpraised, maybe.
I mean, it was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, and I think...
Frances McDormand?
Yeah, didn't she win?
I believe she did win.
And Sam Rockwell did as well, which never a bad thing.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's it. Look, I'm not saying that movie's bad. It's just like, it's not look, we shouldn't be comparing filmmakers' films from one to the other when they're as good as they are, but it wasn't In Bruges.
Yeah, In Bruges is such a good first movie. It's hard to get back up to that level when the level is like astronomically high. It's stratospheric. Yeah. It's like, it's not really that big of a deal that you never got back up there, because to get back up there is really far up.
But he did get back up there, because sure. we're talking about the other one now.
So now let's talk about 2022's, again, I would say black comedy, The Banshees of Inisherin. So once again, written and directed by Martin McDonagh, starring Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, names you've heard before, Carrie Condon and Barry Keoghan, who is in a lot of things all of a sudden, and fantastic here as well. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson play 2 friends once again who, to Colin Farrell's surprise, fall on the outs for seemingly no reason best he can tell, and Brendan Gleeson tells Colin Farrell's character in no uncertain terms, if you talk to me, I will start cutting my fingers off every time you do. And to Martin McDonagh's credit, that is the setup, and the wind-up toy goes from there, and it goes all over the place. And it's, again, if In Bruges is stratospheric. I think that this is at least as high, possibly not higher even. So Father Malone, I'll kick it to you about Banshees of Inisherin.
Saw it, just recently when it became available. This was not in the theater. I saw this on streaming. I like this more than In Bruges. I think it's a better movie. And part of me is, let's say, predisposed to like this movie for the sheer amount of Ireland on display. Something makes my heart soar seeing those green bogs and the farmland leading right up to the cliffs and the amount of mist in the morning. That really does it for me. And then basically drop in this plot that does not, the I'm going to cut off my fingers thing. That doesn't happen until the end of the first act, the beginning of the second act, basically. Like, it's a long time before we get to the stakes of this movie.
Kind of don't do the movie justice by mentioning the plot, because the plot is kind of secondary. It's
just like in Bruges.
Yeah, it's even more secondary than it was in Bruges.
Right. And somehow now more powerful because, we're going to get a fiery climax here, but it isn't as frenetic and it feels more organic and a deeper payoff here than in Bruges. And this, again, I shouldn't be comparing them, but we are comparing them because we're talking about them fucking back to back. And, I don't know. I like, what? Actually, let's talk about Banshees for a second. Chris, have you done a scary stories we tell about Banshees yet?
I have not.
I should be on that one if you do it, because I know a lot about them. Listen, so in Ireland, before there was anybody, there was the Tuatha De Danann, okay? They were like the gods of Ireland. And then when the first people showed up, then they became the Sidhe. They were known as the Sidhe, the fairy folk. They all kind of, got transmogrified into these fairy folk who went beneath the ground, and they lived with the Irish people, the very first Irish people, for a while, and then then Ireland became what it is, and there was different invasions, the Celts and whatever. So, but Banshees are uniquely Irish. They are the original appearance of a banshee was a withered woman in a green dress wearing a cloak, and they would appear when a family member was going to die, and they would keen, which is this high kind of crying wail, basically, and only the members of the family could hear it. I don't even think the person who's going to die could hear it, honestly. It was it was a warning for the rest of the family. And that's all a banshee was. And then, in the 18th century, during the sort of, when Ireland was rediscovering itself, that's when people started fancifying the banshee, and it became like a creature that would come for you, or it was a ghost of somebody who died, and it could be a beautiful young woman in white. It wasn't its original intent, which was this sort of alarm bell for you to not tell you that someone is potentially savable. It's just to let you know, prepare yourself. Your family member is going to die. Weirdly, it's so tied to the original Irish people that the only people that could be affected by a banshee, their names either begin in O or Mac. So like an O'Hurley or like a McGowan, they're not in trouble. They're actually, it's kind of a cool thing that, they've got this supernatural warning bell that a family member is going to die. So the thing is, in this movie, it's obviously called Banshees of Inisherin, and there's a banshee in the movie from almost the opening scene. And Brendan Gleeson's take on the banshee is and obviously Martin McDonagh's conception, because it comes out of Brendan Gleeson's mouth, is that I think there are still banshees, but I don't think they wail anymore. I think they just observe and chuckle. And that's what we get physically on screen. And it is so deftly handled. Like any other film inserting a supernatural character would have smacked us over the fucking head with it. And here it's done so organically and wonderfully. Like, she really is spooky.
Yeah.
And serves her purpose so wonderfully.
Yeah, so I think I would go as far as you did in terms of my enjoyment of this movie. I do think I enjoy this movie and what it has to say a little bit more than In Bruges, but I also think that Banshees of Inisherin is a movie that is less specific. It's talking more holistically about things. In Bruges, because of the profession of the people involved, it does take on a little bit of a specificity to like, you made a mistake. And this is making mistakes in life is a thing that happens. And like, it's how we handle it and move on from it. That is what defines us. And that's part of what that movie is talking about. It's part of the redemptive arc of the Colin Farrell character. This movie kind of also has that, but it doesn't have the assassin trappings. So it automatically feels like a more approachable and relatable story about two friends who have not fallen out of sorts, but one of them has said, I don't want to spend time with you. And no reason why initially. And that is, I don't know who that isn't imminently relatable to if you're not a fucking human being. Like, we have all had friends that we have all fallen out of sorts with. That is the entry point to this movie. There is so much more going on than that, but that is an imminently relatable entry point to get people at least kind of on the same page. Whether or not everybody ends up on the same page at the end of this movie is a different story, only because this movie, Martin McDonagh uses the filmic language about as good as anybody does. And I'm talking like a Jordan Peele or a Scorsese, or, I mean, when Spielberg was really doing it, or plenty of other auteurs, Alex Garland. I mean, people who understand how to use visual language as well as the dialogue on the page. And Martin McDonagh, I mean, he really understands it as good as anybody, as good as the greats, because I think he's in that conversation even with only 4 movies. But this movie, I think, presents the audience with more to chew on as a whole than In Bruges does. I don't know if I like this more than In Bruges. I think this is a harder movie to swallow, but that's the point of the movie. This is not an easy movie to swallow. That's the point. I mean, almost like one of the points of this movie is like, life is fucking tough. And this movie ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. So there you go. Again, like, deeply Irish. So
I think the movie is eminently more relatable than In Bruges, given it isn't a hitman story where we have to have,
right,
I killed a kid and my boss is coming to kill me. It's, everyone has fallen out with somebody. A friendship's end. It happens all the time. And sometimes for no good reason, or sometimes for reasons you'll never know. But so in that way, it's much more relatable. But then it's also wildly distant, I would think, for a lot of people, in that it's set in 1923 in one of the Aran Islands. I think it's a fictional Aran Island off the coast of Ireland in 1923. So, which means that the Irish Revolution, is occurring as a backdrop for this thing. So, whereas in Bruges, it's just there are a couple of tourists in modern times running around there. So that makes that more relatable. And yet, given how distancing all the other trappings of Banshees is, it's still much more accessible, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think just the message of the movie, I think, just is I think it's easier to sink your teeth into, even if it doesn't necessarily go down that easily.
We're getting older. I'm certainly much older than you, so I think I feel this a little more strongly than you, but the notion that we've only got so much time left and how I'm spending the rest of my life, it isn't. See, that's the ultimate thing. It's not really a slight to Colin Farrell. It is, because they're best of friends, and they've been doing this for years and years. But it isn't about him at all. It's about Brendan Gleeson wanting to make the most of his time, because it's so fleeting.
And he is much older than Colin Farrell.
Yeah. So it would be like if you said to me, I don't want to do this with you. That is exactly what it would be like, in terms of like age difference and stuff. And like, I don't know I don't know if I would do the Colin Farrell route, but it would be something to struggle with for sure. But I would understand. I mean, that's the thing. Colin Farrell never understands why. He never gets it until right at the end he does, which is the fun part of the movie, which is the kind of sick satisfaction of the irony of the movie, is that the lengths that have to be impressed upon him for him to fucking understand what Brendan Gleeson is trying to tell him. But yeah, I would struggle with it too. But Colin Farrell just doesn't take no for an answer. That's stubborn. Well, Colin Farrell is kind of a dullard.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And what I like particularly, it's so rich. I love this fella, this filmmaker, is he knows it, and it's his biggest fear, actually. is that he's uninteresting and he's kind of dumb, and he kind of keeps asking around throughout the movie, and he needs reassurance throughout the movie that he's not that. And one of my other favorite moments in the movie is they have the Barry Keoghan character over for dinner, and Barry Keoghan is the vaguely on the spectrum kid running around this island that everyone thinks is a total fucking idiot. And here he's got the total fucking idiot of the island at dinner, and he knows a bit of French that mystifies Colin Farrell. And then he's like, oh my God, even this kid is smarter than me.
Yeah. I love this character that Colin Farrell was playing. It is, oh my God, he plays this like just dull guy who is so, he just exists is probably the best way to put it. Like he exists and asks very little of life other than to have his donkey.
Jenny.
Named Jenny.
I love Jenny. I'm not going to send the donkey out of the house when I'm sad.
But I love that it's like the guy and his donkey. Like that's it. Like he plays it perfectly, and it's not. I don't know. There one of my favorite actors played the sad sack role perfectly. That's Jack Lemmon as Shelley the Machine Levine, like one of the perfect sad sack characters of all time. This character is fucking up there with it, just like just a sad sack dude. Like you said, when he doesn't know French, like he's so offended by his inability to be more interesting than this guy. And it's like, dude, it's because you love your donkey and ask for very little else in the world. Like, don't you get it? Like, don't.
Well, there's that exchange in the bar where he says, I've got other things to do than talk to you. He's like, what? What do you have to do? Well, I could read. Oh, you're going to read? You've been reading?
Yeah.
He is content in his life, but that doesn't mean that everyone else has to participate.
And I love that. Well, I love the idea of Brendan Gleeson being like, I'm going to start cutting my fingers off. And again, it goes back to the idea of Ralph Fiennes in Bruges. And like, if you kill a kid, you should kill yourself. Okay, you killed a kid. Guess you have to kill yourself now. Like, so I guess Colin Farrell talked to you. So I guess you have to cut. Oh shit, you're cutting your fingers. Like that's
Martin McDonagh. He's hard line.
I love
he follows through.
He follows through where others would not, where others would shy away from taking it to the next logical direction that the characters have said it is going. And the fact that it not only goes there, but then it factors into how the plot unworks itself into where we end the movie is, it's so smart. And again, Martin McDonagh just makes it look effortless.
It's funny. You said at the end, Colin Farrell finally, he gets it at the end. He gets what Brendan Gleeson has been trying to hammer home the entire time, right? But they're now at a point where they can't ever be friends. And the irony is that Brendan Gleeson now does want to be friends with him.
Right.
Like when there's a scene earlier in the film where Colin Farrell gets very, very drunk and finally confronts Brendan Gleeson and is screaming at him. And then as he's taken away, Brendan Gleeson's sister, Carrie Condon, comes in to apologize. And Brendan Gleeson is basically like, no, he's never been more interesting. Like, so it is this like horrible thing of this, and look, the allegory for the Irish troubles can't be underestimated in this movie where, you push and push for something until the fight becomes everything. And then there's no going back from it,
Yeah. Pushing. Oh, I don't want to push anymore. Too bad. Can't it once it's been fucked, it can't be unfucked. And some things cannot be unfucked no matter how hard you try to unfuck it. And yeah, I mean, when Colin Farrell's donkey dies because she chokes on Brendan Gleeson's fingers, I mean, that moment, whatever that moment is in any real person's life, like the moment your donkey chokes on someone's fingers, your best friend's fingers, like, yeah, that moment, there is no coming back from that moment, no matter how hard that person tried.
And you know what? Again, with the sort of the troubles, the sort of parallel with the Irish revolution going on, like it's self-mutilating, and that sort of comes off like Brendan Gleeson wants time alone so he can compose music on his fiddle. It's like deeply Irish music he wants to compose. And he's so adamant that he doesn't want that his previous life anymore, that he's willing to cut the fingers off of his fiddle hand, like not the bowing hand, the fingering hand. And when he does the first one, it's like, it's shocking and horrible, but like he can still get away with the 4 fingers, the 3 fingers and a thumb. And the fact that he's willing to do it, to go all the way by the end, so it's just a stump effectively, and thus ending his own dream for no other reason than to be right or to demonstrate, like, that's like killing the culture to just for the point of winning. It's so self-destructive and horrifying. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, the Irish Troubles are a good, are obviously I think the allegory that is being used and gone after here. And that's kind of what we're supposed to draw the conclusion to, but not to be that guy, but you could draw the same conclusion to things happening in our own country right now and people going.
You can draw it to every conflict ever is kind of the wonderful thing,
Right. Yeah. And obviously that's why I think this movie for me is, I mean, right now, this is Martin McDonagh's best movie. You know what I mean? Like right now it is, but I would be inclined to believe that Martin McDonagh's best movie is maybe not his next movie, but 3 movies down the road when he makes one more movie with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, or the next movie he makes with them, right? Like there's got to be one more. There needs to be a 3rd movie in this, whatever you want to call this.
It would be a great trilogy, but even without them, I have no doubt that the best of Martin McDonagh is on the way.
Right. But my further point being, it seems to be he really hums when it's these 2 actors saying his dialogue.
Yeah, they sort of get him and he gets them, and it's magic when the 3 of them are working together. And yeah, I wish they would do it more, but like if it takes another 14 years, I don't know. I'm sorry to say this, but I don't know if Brendan Gleeson's got that long. But if maybe do something quicker. But at the same time, like what I understand is like he had initially written this script years and years and years ago, and then rewrote it again. Like originally, it was much more action packed, and then he kept scaling. Yeah, like there was a gun battle at the end with like an Irish soldier had come over from the mainland, and anyway, and then he just kept reducing and reducing and reducing, and it became better and better and better as far as I can tell.
Whoa, man, what would that movie have looked like? Weird, wild. That would have been wild.
It would have been in Bruges again. Is the thing. So thank God he didn't do it.
And that is the thing. I mean, in terms of like level of excitement, this movie does not have In Bruges beat. It is the other way around. This is a very like go to the pub, watch these people talk. It's a stage play. It really is a stage play. And I look, not a surprise, it's Martin McDonagh. In Bruges feels like less of a stage play than this movie does, primarily because of the finale.
Yeah, well, if you're jumping on boats in canals off of bridges and stuff, yeah, you got action-wise, you got this movie beat. But I don't know. I think that like the violence here is much more intimate. Even so much as like when Colin Farrell he's decreed that to get back at Brendan Gleeson for killing his donkey inadvertently, that he's going to burn his house down. Like as he's piling the kindling and pouring on the liquid, like that alone was horrifying for me. And then seeing Brendan Gleeson just sitting in the house too, like Jesus, just the spark, just the throwing of the lanterns was much more affecting to me than anything in Bruges.
Yeah, I love their character interactions in this movie more than I do in it. Again, comparing is unfortunate, but also, again, you have these 2 guys in these 2 movies by this one director. What the fuck do you expect us to do? I think you could watch both movies and get something similar but different from both. I think this movie, I think that for the themes of this movie, it is like you said, much more approachable movie. And I love Colin Farrell's performance in this movie more than his performance in Bruges, because it's a little against type. Like it's a little against type. Colin Farrell's not a dullard in real life, far fucking from it. And him having to play this like kind of dope character. I love dope characters in movies, but I always worry that they go a little too far. And Colin Farrell is just the right amount. I mean, again, like Jack Lemmon as Shelley the Machine Levine and Glengarry Glen Ross is that perfect amount of just like dope, but he's not a dope all the way. If you do push him, he will explode. And Colin Farrell, like you said, there's that moment where Colin Farrell does explode, and it's like, whoa, he had it in him this whole time, huh? Where the fuck was it then, bro?
Yeah, his inability to change, his inability to evolve in any way, shape, or form, the general "this is good enough" attitude. And it's bad enough that they're on a fucking island off the coast of an island. Like they're not participating in the world at all. Can we talk about Carrie Condon for a minute? The amazing Carrie Condon. She's so good in everything she's in. Most people know her, but they don't know her. She's the voice of Friday, Iron Man's assistant for most of those Marvel movies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And she was on Better Call Saul, the prequel series to Breaking Bad, and she's fucking phenomenal in that too. She's been in a bunch of other stuff. I'm leaving a bunch out, but she's great, and she's great here. Like, just wonderful.
She really asserts herself in this movie in a way that no other character in Bruges does, other than Ralph Fiennes. She is this movie's Ralph Fiennes in a lot of ways. Like, she's so good that her interactions with Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are both really, really, really compelling, because it's, again, you get to see through her eyes the fucking horseshit that these two morons are embroiling themselves in, as that third party just being like, oh my God, like the level of just, you think I'm leaving this island because of you? It might not be because of you, but you're the part of the fucking reason. Like, that level of just despondency with this human being that she's related to is, there are people that also can 100% feel that part of the movie. And that's part of the movie that isn't really in Bruges. There is this weird like subplot in this movie that works in tandem with what the movie's already talking about, which is feeling fed up with one person to the point of not wanting anything to do with them, or not wanting to want anything to do with them and leaving completely.
She would rather go to an actual civil war than deal with these idiots fighting over nothing.
Yep. Yeah, it's like the level of her just being like, or the level of her autonomy in this movie is so admirable. You know what I mean? She's just like, I'm fucking done. Goodbye.
Yeah, and she's very funny throughout the film too. Like the scene with her and the Banshee, basically, is very. She's very, very gifted comedically too, as well. So what I'm trying to say, that scene to me is hilarious. Where it's just this, they keep revealing things to this old crone that nobody wants to deal with, like embarrassing things about one another, and she's marvelous in it.
Yeah, I do like the idea of a supernatural specter in the movie. It adds it honestly adds more of a theatrical quality to it, like more of like Shakespearean quality to it, like in the wings, the Banshees watches, like something to that effect, right? And look, the name of the piece that Brendan Gleeson writes in the movie is called, say it with me now, the Banshees of Inisherin. So like, there you go. I mean, we have the Banshee literally, and then we have the music that's being written that is the seemingly this movie's driving force for Brendan Gleeson's character, part of the driving force. That
tune written by Brendan Gleeson, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You can't escape the Banshees. I like that I like that his reasoning is he likes the double shush sound from Banshees and Inisherin together. Like, there's no other reason for it. But yeah, again, I think in lesser hands than him, the Banshee would, it would be like the Indian in The Doors, the symbol of death. Have you seen The Doors?
I've not.
Oh my God, put it on the list.
It made the list.
Put it on the list. I'm not even joking. In that they have this, Native American character representing death who keeps showing up throughout the entire movie, and it's very clumsy and sort of silly. And here we have what is clearly a supernatural being, but she's also, you totally buy her as just this crazy old woman that nobody wants to deal with. But
could be,
oh my God,
can and
yeah,
is.
She definitely is, because she shows a family member where their dead are, before it would be discovered otherwise by the end, fishing him in with the hook that he fished out of the sea himself.
Yeah. I love that kind of character in these kinds of movies, like a just supernatural element just in there just because. And I think it works here. I think it works. And yeah, she looks odd enough, but not all the way like off-putting. She has that like supernatural reined in quality that again makes me think of like more on stage than like normally in film. So
again, once more about the Banshee. I would like people to, if they took anything away from this movie, to think about a Banshee being like this and less what it's been perverted into in countless, silly fantasy novels and comic books and stuff. She's somehow now this like demon of vengeance, and really she's associated with death, but it's a much more gentle and familial a thing. Like, it's upsetting when she shows up, but there's not a lot you can do about it. And it's better. Is it better to know? I mean, maybe it's a punishment. I don't know.
Well, that was what I wanted to ask you. What if there is a question that I have about this movie? Because again, it feels like there might be an answer, and your answer may be different than mine. What are the Banshees of Inisherin? What does that mean in terms of what the movie presents to us? Because it's Martin McDonagh. There's no way there's not like some sort of overall overarching meaning to all of it.
Yeah, well, I would say that that sort of subtle conflicts can, portend the death of everything, of all civility, of all reason, of all hope toward reconciliation.
Yeah. I agree. I think it does it cuts to the idea of like those little things that we think don't add up to much, add up way too much sometimes to things that cannot be overlooked, undone. Even if you make all the promises in the world that things will change, it's too far down the road. We're too far gone. We can't change it at this point. And then, yeah, the best part of the movie is the irony of, well, when things do change, sometimes people don't want to do them anymore. Isn't that a shame? Oh, yeah, no, people are different, and now we don't want to be friends. Or you want to be friends with me, and I don't want to be friends with you. Like when push comes to shove and people do change, are we even the same people anymore, or have we gone through a kind of spiritual death, as it were, and changed into someone else? Because I know since the last time I saw you 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now, I feel like I'm a different person than even the person I was when you and I saw each other the first time or the second time. And like, there's that weird like sense of like, well, I'm not dead, but that person that I am is different and changed. And again, in this movie, it's like, if that were to go to the shove and pushed off the edge, would we want to do anything with one another again? And in this movie, it's like, no. It's cool.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, and I don't know, maybe this is true or not, but when Brendan Gleeson's character is firm with him, he has kind of the most effect. He does kind of keep his distance for a little while, but whenever he's a little bit nice to him, then Colin Farrell immediately starts acting like everything's okay, and then the situation gets worse and worse. So I don't know what that says. Like, it was there a scenario where Brendan Gleeson could have explained that I need a break from you?
Yeah, I wonder the same thing, because it comes down to the communication part of this, right? Like,
right?
Could he have communicated that to him in a way that worked for the both?
And look, obviously, the Brendan Gleeson character, this isn't just some one day he woke up and decided this. We're getting him after a period where he was in despair. They say that a bunch of times. When he goes to confession, the priest asks him, "How's the despair?" And he says, "Oh, it's good now. Like it's finally lifted." Which means that part of the association with Colin Farrell's character is obviously a time of grief for Brendan Gleeson's character. Right. And so that's another thing, people, once you get associated with a period in your life where things are fucked up, unfortunately, you don't want to be around that anymore. And that's a valid reason. But just slamming the door and saying fuck off is the wrong method.
Right. And that, I think, is the thing that can be taken away from this movie is like, conflicts exist and conflicts will always, but how we handle getting into them and getting out of them is more important in a lot of ways than what the conflict is about. Because this conflict in this movie is about nothing. It's literally about nothing. There's nothing at the center of it other than, I just don't want to be around you. And if I had said right now, things may not have played out the way that they did, but because I couldn't tell you it was just for a time, because I didn't even know that that's what I needed, then it becomes this whole fucking thing. And it's the lack of communication between the two, and that breakdown to the point of, I'm going to burn your house down with you inside of it. which is like
there had to be
furthest logical step from any sort of rational decision. But all right.
Yeah, there had to be a way to get Colin Farrell's character to the point of evolution without having his donkey choke on your fingers that you cut off and threw at his door.
Yeah.
It's all madness at that point. There's nothing but the conflict at that point, and that's all there's ever going to be.
Right. And that in a lot of ways is the ultimate message of this movie is don't ever let it get to the point where there's just conflict and nothing else. Where the relatability is gone, where the common ground can be even found, as opposed to we're just stomping more blood into the ground, because conflict is fun. And I like the way it feels to punch your face, because that's what this becomes at the end. It's like, I don't want to be your fucking friend. And it's okay that there are some things that we cannot come back from. Fuck you. Like that. And that's Colin Farrell at the end of the movie. He's like, you've pushed me so far that I'm the guy who's fucking done now.
Yeah. Are we square? Like, no, if you had stayed in the house, we would be square. If you were dead right now, then I would be happy.
Yeah. And it's like this guy who at the beginning of the movie was so keen to be this man's friend has now been pushed to the point of like, if you being alive is now a problem.
Yeah. Good place to be in your golden years.
Yeah, I absolutely, I adore this movie, and I have watched it way too many times since it came out, which I think speaks volumes to my maybe love of this more than In Bruges, because I have only seen In Bruges a handful of times compared to.
But I'll definitely watch both again.
Sure. Oh yeah. I'm not going to say no to either being put on.
No, we're comparing these movies and saying one's better than the other. They're both masterpieces. I just want to be clear.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Like genuine contemporary masterpieces that I'm surprised don't have stage adaptations because of how well written they are and how
I'm sure there must be somewhere.
Right. Yeah. If there haven't already. So I'm glad we talked about these movies. I really am excited to see what Martin McDonagh does next. Probably have to wait a while, which good art takes time. I will say, though, the unfortunate thing in between In Bruges and Banshees of Inisherin is I kind of can't see Brendan Gleeson not looking like Donald Trump anymore because of that goddamn Donald Trump thing that he did for Showtime. And it's like, man, he kind of just like the hair in this movie, even like he kind of just looks like him now to me all the time. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. What's really funny is like his Donald Trump now seems like fucking quaint compared to like where we are now in terms of like the timeline. But I rewatched like clips from that and I was like, what a weirdo thing to have existed and a weirdo actor to have played it. Like of all the people, this Irish actor playing one of the most well-known people in the world.
Have you seen, I think it's called Frank. It's the series that Brendan Gleeson's son, wrote. It stars two of Gleeson's sons, Donald and another one. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. And it's about the not Donald Gleeson. And he's just this like loser character. And at some point in the show, Brendan Gleeson shows up as their father. And it's a light fucking silly comedy, and he's fucking hilarious in that. He can do no wrong, this man.
I love Brendan Gleeson so much. He is, I mean, we kind of mentioned how good he is in this, but like, and again, we mentioned how good he is in everything else, but Paddington 2, have you seen Paddington 2?
Have not.
Oh, he's so good in that. He plays like the cook in prison where Paddington goes to. And it's like, again, I mean, there you go. Like you can already imagine the fun to be had with that character. And again, that actor. And you know what? I just watched that he was in, and I completely forgot that he was in Lake fucking Placid.
Right, it's the best thing in Lake Placid, yeah.
I'm a Bill Pullman fan, but Bill Pullman is pretty boring in that movie. I mean, Bill Pullman, he's not given much to do, unfortunately.
No, that's a terrible script, but Oliver Platt's fun in it.
And so is Brendan Gleeson, but I don't think that's not the case ever. And I didn't get a chance to mention the thing I saw Colin Farrell in first, Phone Booth.
Oh, yeah, which right on the heels of Tigerland.
Phone Booth is a weird movie that I have not seen in a very long time. I'm assuming it probably doesn't hold up, but
I did not like it at the time. I thought, yes, you can make a movie that takes place entirely in a phone booth. Sure. Should you? I don't know.
Now that I think back on it, it seems probably more like it was a failed script for like Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone or something. Just think about it, like what that movie's fucking setup is, how the movie ends. Like seems like a Twilight Zone Or
it's my understanding that it was like an idea that Hitchcock had that he couldn't crack. So somebody was waiting to do it,
So yeah, so there you go. Like this was a thing that's been kicking around for a while. Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
But Colin Farrell, man, he's fucking effortlessly charming, that prick.
Yeah, I am a fan of Colin Farrell. I also recently rewatched Horrible Bosses, and he's hilarious in that. Like,
oh my God, he's great at that.
Being weird, like just being completely wackazoid. And yeah, I don't know. He always gives it his all in everything that he's in, including but not limited to Daredevil and that Miami Heat movie or Miami Vice movie that was shockingly good.
He's never not good in these movies. He's really fucking affecting in was and the movie overall is not great, but Saving Mr. Banks. Did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
About God, what's her name? She wrote the Mary Poppins book. So it's about
P.L. Travers.
Yeah, P.L. Travers. So it's about trying to convince P.L. Travers to let Disney make Mary Poppins into a movie. And the movie contains flashbacks to her time living in Australia, and Colin Farrell plays her alcoholic, ne'er-do-well father. And he's so fucking heartbreaking in it.
Huh. I would watch that.
You know what else you should watch? Dumbo. Tim Burton's Dumbo.
You're like the only person I know who has gone out on a limb for that.
I'll continue to go out on a limb for the movie. I think it's really good. Not only is Colin Farrell fucking fantastic in it, but the villain is Michael Keaton.
That is the only reason I wanted to watch that, because it's Michael Keaton.
White-haired, Walt Disney, Michael Keaton, made by Disney, like the most Disney of movies. The villain is effectively Walt Disney in that movie. It's really subversive. I don't know. People didn't like it. People are crazy.
I'll have to watch it. I thought you were gonna say Colin Farrell's great in Fantastic Beasts. I actually think that's one of the things I've seen him in where they give him nothing to do intentionally. Give him
in that movie. Right. So he was the red herring, like, oh, he's the fucking Voldemort character or whatever.
Well, he was the character in disguise.
Right. And then it turns out to be Johnny Depp at the end, right?
Which when Colin Farrell turns into Johnny Depp, we're going from gold to silver, not from gold to plat.
No, man, they thought they were getting that. And I was just like, no. Like, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get Colin Farrell in like a series of movies as this character. I'm so excited. Nope. Grindelwald or whatever the fuck he was.
But in the movie, nobody said Grindelwald. What's the fucking name? But to be fair, we did get Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald in that third movie. So
I haven't seen it. I could barely get through the second one. And then they're like,
the second one was an affront. Like
slog, man.
Yeah. I didn't see the third one either. I have not watched it. Isn't that the one with Jude Law, or does the second one have Jude Law?
Jude Law's the best of all of those movies as young Dumbledore.
He wasn't gay enough though, as for my like.
Oh no, he's definitely gay enough.
I know,
but
he's gay. What promise?
Colin Farrell is, the most recent thing that I remember him in is the fucking Batman as the fucking Riddler, not the Riddler, as the fucking Penguin. And I
still haven't seen it.
Oh my God. What? Just stop the
You're
podcast.
the only person that I know that is telling me to go watch that movie. No joke.
Is everyone insane?
I don't know.
Listen, that's a fucking good movie. If you like Batman, if you actually like the character of Batman and not the idea of Batman, this fucking pop culturally bullshit thing we've been getting for 25 years. If you want to see a Batman movie, The Dark Knight Detective, you got to watch The Batman. It is so assured and wonderful. And in like early Batman, like young Batman, but like not gimmicky. I don't know. I dug it, man.
I know Colin Farrell is amazing in it. That's what I've heard. To the point where they gave the guy his own show.
He's fucking incredible in that makeup. I was thinking about this movie today, but that makeup is one of the best makeups I've ever seen in any movie ever. I'm not, no hyperbole there. It's incredible.
Yeah, I probably should watch. Batman is my favorite superhero, but I never got around to it because I heard good things and then all of a sudden I started hearing bad things. So I was like, it's 3 hours. It's a pretty big time commitment. I would probably have to watch it on my own. So
it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's got Colin Farrell. It's not a hard sell.
Oh my God. You know what? I don't mean to say that this is the best version of Batman or whatever, because every flavor of Batman is valid. Like, that was the great thing about comic books. You'd get a different artist every once in a while, a different writer, and suddenly your character is a whole different character in a way, with the fundamentals obviously still intact. So everyone's interpretation cinematically of Batman is valid. For me, the Batman that I read in the comics, that I liked in the comics, is on display here and in virtually no other Batman film. Like the detective work in the Christopher Nolan movies might as well be magic. It's just like machines and holograms and whatever. Like, here's what it would be: this guy on the street, like, with sweat and blood.
Right. And yeah, no, that's I don't know, that's the thing about the new stuff that we see when it comes to superhero stuff is it has to really be different to stand out from everything else at this point. And I know it was, but everything else is so kind of fun and frothy all the time. And it's not that I want something serious, but I don't need fucking quips constantly. You psychos with your quip. Let's get Martin McDonagh to direct a Marvel movie. Let's waste his time with Marvel. Wouldn't that be fun? I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, his partner, seems to love working with Disney. Can't she just put in a good word for Martin McDonagh? No, please stay away from those things. Unless you want to make him better, which I guess they probably wouldn't let him, to be fair.
Hey, listen, if they want to give him like a horror movie or something, or like because Marvel's eventually got to fucking figure it out and do genre movies now, right? They have to.
I don't think they have a choice at this point.
No, they can't keep making the superhero movies. They have to get as diverse as comics themselves. Like,
is
they
that
have
a weird thing for them to think about?
It is, because they're obviously so trepidatious to do it, because we were supposed to get a horror film with fucking Werewolf by Night last year, and they fucking made it black and white, and they cut the shit out of it, and they took all the blood and the gore out of it, and like just completely, got cold feet. And they need to not get cold feet. They need to embrace the fact that there are other ways to tell comic book stories.
Yeah, I joke about Martin McDonagh, but like, I don't know. He seems like too high profile of a director for Marvel. Though they did have Kenneth Branagh make a movie for them.
Listen, they're foundering. They're heading for the rocks. So like a shakeup, like getting somebody like that and going, do what you want to do with these characters. We'll figure out a way to link it up to the rest of our universe. Go ahead. That would be the best thing they can do at this point.
Yeah. I really shouldn't have made that crack about Brendan Gleeson looking like Trump, because now I really am having a hard time unseeing it. Jesus Christ.
Oh, geez. Just stop.
I know. What's really funny is there haven't been a lot of people who have played him in movies yet. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. But what's funny is, like, of all the people, it's an Irish guy.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? Like, the most, and like super Irish too, not just like, I like Domhnall Gleeson he can pass less Irish than his father, which is why Lake Placid is so funny, because it's like this dude is like trying to be American so hard. Oh God. Father Malone, final thoughts on In Bruges / Banshees of Inisherin.
If you haven't seen these movies, you should see these movies. I think they're both nuanced. They're both you're gonna have to put your phone down and invest some time with these two characters, and it's not that much time, like less than 2 hours. Both these movies, maybe not. Banshees is maybe a little bit longer, but they are, like I said earlier, I don't think I can give a movie higher praise than it reinvigorates you in your love of cinema, and that's what Martin McDonagh has done twice now.
I agree 100%. When I watch a movie and it makes me just like, man, I love watching movies. Like, this is why I like watching. I remember thinking that when I saw In Bruges in the theater, like, this is a fucking good movie. And there should be more movies like this movie. And there have been more movies like In Bruges since In Bruges came out. And frankly, better movies, like, but also movies that are doing what In Bruges did, not as good, but thank God In Bruges exists so that those movies have something amazing to look at and see and say, well, this is something worth doing and he did it well, so we can also do it. And Banshees of Inisherin, I think, is just, I don't know. It's, if you thought In Bruges was good, just wait. And by the end of Banshees of Inisherin, I just want to see more of what Martin McDonagh has to do and more Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, like all the time. Give me one of them doing something every year together of something, maybe not even Martin McDonagh, and it would probably be good. Just the two of them drinking fucking beer in a pub together, for fuck's sake. I mean, I know Colin Farrell does not drink anymore.
No, he does not.
Which there's a whole story about him and Brendan Gleeson spending time together, and Brendan Gleeson giving him water and like, oh, you want a drink? And he just gave him water. They sound very wholesome together too, which is also very great. But
in addition to another Martin McDonagh trio of these three movies, I would also accept a travel show where Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson visit places or just do everything, you know?
Yeah.
Could put in an apartment for a month.
Like Oz and James May on BBC traveling France drinking wine together, but these two traveling Ireland drinking beer together. Who the fuck wouldn't watch that?
No, I don't know they would be drinking beer.
One of them would.
With Mr. No, just have it be a cheese selections. They're just going around eating fine cheeses. It doesn't matter what they're actually doing. They can be visiting forts, you know, like.
Speaking about the bogs, speaking eloquently about the bogs. And that just, I think that speaks to them and their relationship and the relationship that Martin McDonagh is able to capture on screen. Because when he's I know when he's writing these movies, who he's writing them for. He's not writing them for somebody else and casting Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. He's writing these characters and tailoring them to these two actors because he knows they're going to do it. So... And that's why these movies sing as loudly as they do, is because it feels very real. So Father Malone, until you join me or I join you on something, where can people find all the things that you work on?
Go check out weirdingwaymedia.com to mention. You mentioned all the shows at the top that I'm involved in. Go check them all out. Noise Junkies, that's going right now. How about do you like that show Taxi? Well, I got one of those. That's Night Mr. Walters with HP, and Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast where we're doing currently Night Gallery. Check that one out. That's fun. Anyway, those places.
I can attest to it being fun. I'm on that show. Yeah, weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can find this show and all the other shows that I work on with Father Malone and Mike White, and Heather Drain, and everybody else who does great shows and does great work over at weirdingwaymedia.com. As for this show, Kulturecast.com, patreon.com/Kulturecast. You know the drill, 10, 20, and 50. You've heard it here before. I just said it, so I don't need to say it again for another episode. Father Malone, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, my pleasure. Any chance to talk about Colin Farrell?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm with you. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.